I have some confusion. There's a question here. I am new to Islam. I have some confusion with regard to the types of toys and games I should choose for the children, because I heard that some of the toys, that if you have them in your home, that the angels will not enter the home. And is it permissible to watch Peppa? Oh, pig cartoons. Okay. I have another question regarding teaching. I don't understand the next question. Anyway, then generally, let me just answer this. As for toys and games for children, then yes, it is allowed. It is allowed. Dolls are allowed for them as long as those dolls are not dolls that are exact models of human beings, like, for example, what they used to have, I'm sure they still have it, the Barbie doll. And these are all haram from two angles. Number one, that it is an exact replica of a human being, so they are basically molds. And secondly, that they are the most evil of tarbiyah that comes along with them. So this Barbie has a boyfriend and so on, and all of that is haram, and all of that is forbidden because of these two aspects, that it is an exact replica, it is a molding based upon a real human, and number two, that it is it leads to corrupted and evil tarbiyah. Barakallahu feekum. So what type of dolls are allowed then? Those kind of dolls that are basically cloth dolls, that they are just basically maybe two shirt buttons for the eyes kind of thing, or just a line for the mouth. Something that maybe like a cabbage patch doll, if they still make them, I'm sure they do. Those kind of things, or a teddy bear. These are allowed. Why? Because these are just pieces of cloth that are stitched together and they're just filled with foam or filled with other cloth. So that type of, those types of toys are allowed. Of course, toys such as cars and buses and motorbikes and so on for boys are also good. And remember that when you buy toys for your children, then buy toys that will encourage femininity in girls, and that will put into the boys, or inculcate into the boys, masculinity. So you should not buy toys for example, you would not buy a girly doll for your son, right? Because that's not how you would raise your boys. So the boys should have those kind of toys that make him more of a man and teach him masculinity. And the girls, those types of toys, like for example, a toy doll house, for example, a doll's house or a doll, and likewise one of those toy kitchens and so on. All of that is good for girls, because that teaches them to be more feminine and not feminist. More feminine, so they resemble the wives and the female companions. And Aisha radiallahu anha herself, she had a doll, and likewise the companions used to make dolls for their children to keep them occupied, and all of that is allowed. Barakallahu feekum. As for watching things on the TV and so on, then get rid of the television. Barakallahu feekum. If you want them to watch a documentary of something of benefit, then no problem. You can show them a documentary as long as you are present, inshallah. So that, because a lot of these documentaries you may have to forward, or you may have to mute them and so on. So you have to be careful with regard to what you show your children in terms of even documentaries. So be careful. As for putting them in front of the screen and making them watch cartoons all day and night, you're just killing their brains. You will numb their, progress intellectually. And that is not good. So TV really, and what they watch on the screens should be the minimum of, a minimum part of their education. The majority of their education should be reading, listening, parents, teachers, and so on. And as for activities, then likewise their activities should be outdoor. So you should go for long walks with your children. You should go to the countryside. You should visit places in the countryside and around the city where your children will benefit. Visiting a railway museum, for example, or visiting the Black Country Museum, for example, or visiting the countryside and the hills and the mountains and valleys and going for walks. Get your children accustomed to that, So when they see, they can ask. They can maybe take a picture of a flower and then go home and look at, what's the name of that flower? What's the name of that tree? What is that mountain? What type of mountain is it? Is this a freshwater lake? And what is the difference between freshwater and saltwater and so on? Are there different types of fish that live in one type of water as opposed to the other type of water? If they're physically out there, get them used to the outdoors. Problem with many of the parents these days is that they keep their children, you keep them in the house, and they're just bored to death, just to take a term. They're bored. So you need to excite them. But I don't mean excite them by giving them iPads and iPhones and, this kind of stuff. But rather you show them the world. You show them the creation of Allah. It's one of the points that we mentioned today. Ponder over the creation of Allah. Take them. Go camping if you want. Mother, father, kids, go camping. No problem. Go and stay somewhere in the countryside or just go and spend a day there. Barakallah. Learn fishing. Teach your children. Go and, get a book on angling and learn how to fish. All of these are good things that you can do with your children.